remember once receiving a text from one of my clients, and it was actually a complaint about a video that I've just submitted. He said, "Hey man, did you add any music to this video?" Of course I was puzzled. Of course I added music. Who doesn't add music to their videos? So I said, yes, I added music. Maybe check your volume. Maybe it's too low on your PC. Maybe there's some issues. Maybe your headset isn't working. I'm just giving him all this jibber jabber about, his volume not working, because I know for sure that it was working for me. Now his response didn't really shock me until I really thought about it and really thought about the depth this had. He goes, "Nah, I'm watching it on the TV." Now I remember my thought process going from TV to holy shit, TV. Now at the time I recently heard a statistic about half of YouTube viewers being on TV. I was editing on my PC with my headphones and a volume level that I had adjusted for myself. I was so focused on making it sound good for me and how I would like the video that I completely forgot that there's thousands of people that watch these videos on different devices. So let's say you're editing a video and you've got your headphones on and your volume is to the max. Now when you're editing, you're gonna think, oh no, this is too loud for me. So you lower the volume of your sound effects, your music, and maybe just the mic audio. Now when little Timmy's watching on his iPad, where the audio isn't so direct into his ears, and he's got it on a lower volume, he's gonna hear nothing. At this point, I realized I was so obsessed and consumed with editing videos that were good for me and that I thought looked good, to the point where I'd completely forgotten and ignored the whole point of editing, which is to tailor the editing to the viewer's experience. So after this, I was thinking, what else am I missing? Like, what more am I completely forgetting about when it comes to audio and sound design? And thank God that I did, because since then, I've been discovering and applying certain techniques to my videos that would take me from $250 per video to over £1,000 per video. Just generally, when people watch videos, the one thing that influences their decision on whether to click off or not is the emotion. If we as editors aren't conveying enough emotion to these videos, they're gonna click off immediately. They're getting bored. Now remember, emotion doesn't just mean like drama and high intense sequences. We take them through a wave of emotions just like any film or any story does. Now contrast editing is the most emotive form and style of editing. Now the graph you're seeing on the screen currently is from Dodford's Out West newsletter. When transitioning, we play with the viewer's emotion. Let's say we have some plain footage and then the next clip is much more dramatic. When we leave it to simply cut to the next scene, we don't prepare the viewers for emotional impact.
I got denied. But that didn't stop me. I had a mission. I must get...
To them, it just happens, so they don't feel any emotion from what they've just watched. We briefly build up to it, so that they're prepared for the emotion we're about to hit them with.
I don't think he makes it past 2 rounds. If it does, I'm gonna break him and I'm gonna embarrass the shit out of him.
We go from no added extra audio tracks to a stack of them to complement the emotion that we're trying to go for. You'll see this commonly for previews at the beginning of videos, you see them in documentaries, and you actually see them in trailers too. Now, the second technique of storytelling is probably the most common one that you'll see in stuff like films, and it's 100% applicable to YouTube. It's called Mickey Mousing. This is when you match the music to the movement, or vice versa. How do we do this? Well, you find some music that syncs up and matches the movement to the video or whatever's happening in the video, whatever complements it most. Now this next one is more so about just editing in general rather than sound design, but I'll show you how you can apply it to sound design. It's called the dream avatar. Sometimes we need to sit back and think about who's actually watching these videos and how would they be watching them. Say for example, you're editing a Roblox video. His viewer would probably be little Timmy. Now little Timmy's 7 years old, he's got dirty blonde hair, and he likes to play Roblox on his dad's computer when his dad's at work. However, when his dad's actually using the computer, he likes to watch his favorite YouTube creators on his iPad, just like your client. Now, Timmy's got a fragile attention span because of all that intense editing that he's just consumed. So when he watches on his iPad, he doesn't have headphones on, he just listens through the speakers. Now, when Timmy isn't hearing enough anime sound effects and cool, intense music that goes along with his favorite creators shouting in his footage, he starts to think this is a bit odd and kind of boring when you think about it. Now, it's your job to make sure that when they're watching, they don't have this experience. They're watching, they're loving, and they're gonna go to the next video and the next video and the next video until little Timmy can go back on his dad's computer and play more Roblox. Now that we know who's watching these videos, we need to keep this very rule in mind. And it's people listen to videos more than they watch them. I want you to think about this one. This goes for literally everyone. And I mean literally everyone. There's not a single person this doesn't apply to. Now let's take me and you for example, okay? Us editors. When we're editing, maybe we'll have a video on the side to watch to keep us stimulated. But we're not really watching this video, are we? We're actually listening. We'll just look over every now and then to make sure that we're entertained. Now, if we're not being stimulated by this video that we've just clicked on while we can work, we're gonna click off. We're gonna find something else that's a lot more fulfilling. The music opens the viewer to the most important part of the video, the intro. Music has the power to psychologically set expectations for the viewers and give them an idea of what they're watching. They do this by thin slicing. Thin slicing isn't a term in editing, it's actually a term in psychology. Now, to roughly explain it, thin slicing is when your brain makes split decisions based on past experiences. Have you ever watched the first few seconds of a video and decided, nah, this isn't for me, I'm not gonna enjoy this kind of video? That's just because you thin sliced the video. You've actually consumed enough content on this website to the point where your brain decides whether this video is worth watching or not. The book Blink by Malcolm Gladwell explains all of this, and it's really helped me. Now, just on the music and maybe the first few frames alone, you can decide whether this video is gonna be your kind of style. You're gonna click on, and for the first few frames maybe you can click off. Why? Because you've watched and you've listened and you've thought, okay, I know what this video is gonna be. It's gonna be like one of those Mr. Beast clones and one of those Mr. Beast fakes that does first to wins 10,000 or last to wins 10,000. Like, you know, you'll get the idea of it. Or maybe you'll click on, and for the first literally under a second, you'll think, okay, not enough music. I'm clicking off. Why? Because I know that this guy is going to be testing my attention span and I'm not here for it, okay? I'm done. I'm gonna find something else. I have better things to do with my time. Nobody really focuses on this part of editing anymore. Sadly, the scene has devolved into a cesspool of agency owners and gurus that can make you $10,000 within a month. Now let's take some proven editors, ones that worked with some of the biggest names on YouTube, and see what they have to say about sound design.
I've been saying this and will continue to say this until the end of time. Sound design is the most important thing when it comes to making a good YouTube video.
Brain only latches onto a couple moments. I mean, that's why companies do jingles.
Correct.
A lot of editors neglect sound effects or think it's like a very quick process. Oh, I could finish it like an hour or something. That's one thing that I feel like a lot of editors really don't focus on enough. You can put a lot of personality into the sound effects, and it definitely helps with like retention and stuff for sure. It can literally make or break a video.
Sound design is severely underappreciated in filmmaking. They often say that we see more with our ears than with our eyes. Therefore, good sound design can take your content to feel just better. Creators, do not neglect your sound design.
Sound design is the key to immersion. If your viewers are completely sucked into the world that you've created for them, they're not gonna click off until they hear the outro. You don't really hear these things often because the people that you really listen to haven't really gone through an editing journey themselves. Now, the next time you see a post or video about editing, I want you to click on that person's profile, go through their history and see if they've actually got any proof of work or any portfolio. I can almost guarantee you won't see a portfolio because a lot of the people that are blowing up nowadays are mostly in it because they see video editing as a gold mine for a course. My goal is to clean up the editing scene and help editors work with their dream clients and make the absolute most they possibly can from editing.